Hi, and welcome to Anne's Family Recipe. Today I'm making homemade Butterfingers. Today's video is part of a huge collaboration hosted by my friend Shaunna from the channel Mrs. Dickinson 1910, and it has a Hocus Pocus Halloween theme. So everybody involved is making sweet and savory Halloween-inspired dishes, which I am so excited to check out. So I'm going to leave Shaunna's channel along with the playlist for all of the recipe videos linked in my description box below. I don't know about you, but I have a favorite candy that I always fish out of my kids' trick-or-treat buckets basically the minute they walk back in the door. For me, it is Butterfinger. A close second is Reese's, and then anything else chocolate, which actually works out very well because for some crazy reason, my kids like the fruity candy, which I don't understand. But that's fine because I'll get all the chocolate candies in the end. And last Halloween, actually, I stumbled upon a very simple recipe for how to make your own Butterfingers at home. It involves 3 ingredients. They taste and feel exactly the same as a Butterfinger candy bar. You are going to love these. Our first ingredient is candy corn. Now, I actually love eating candy corn by itself, but I know a lot of people don't. So if you happen to have a bunch kind of laying around left over that you don't know what to do with, these Butterfingers are the perfect solution. So I'm making just a small batch today. I'm gonna use a half a cup of my candy corn and just put it in a heat-safe bowl because we're gonna pop this in the microwave to melt them. So before I melt my candy corn, I'm gonna measure out my peanut butter, which is our second ingredient, because once the candy corn is melted, you have to work really quickly because it starts to solidify pretty fast. So I just wanted to show you a quick trick that I like to use when I'm measuring out things like peanut butter or honey. I'll spray with my baking spray, it's just canola oil, the measuring cup that I'm using, and then I'm also going to spray the spoon that I'm using to scoop it out with. And that kind of helps things slide off a little bit easier. So we'll spray the spoon. And I'm going to spray the measuring cup. Okay, and then we're going to measure out 1/3 cup of our creamy, smooth peanut butter. So the peanut butter is ready to go, and now I'm going to pop the candy corn into the microwave to melt it. All right, so this microwave for about a minute, and I stopped it halfway through, so at the 30-second mark, just to kind of stir it up. So now I'm gonna add in my creamy peanut butter, and you can see the candy corn is gonna give it that quintessential bright orange color too, and the sweetness that you just couldn't get from anything else. Now, quick tip, do not touch the melted candy corn because it is boiling hot. But now I'm just gonna stir in the peanut butter until they're combined, and you can see it's already kind of stiffening up. And if it gets too difficult to work with, you can definitely pop it back into the microwave just for a couple of seconds, which I might do here. But we just want to incorporate the 2 ingredients together. So now I'm using my small cookie scoop here, and I'm going to scoop out little portions of our mixture that's all been combined. And I have a baking tray right over here that's lined with parchment paper so that nothing sticks. Now that I've shaped my Butterfinger candies, I'm going to pop them into the freezer for a few minutes, and that way they'll firm up and they'll be easier to work with when we dip them into our melted chocolate. Yes, that is the new maple ginger cookie swirl ice cream from Trader Joe's in my freezer, and yes, it tastes as good as it sounds. It only took about 10 to 15 minutes in my freezer for my little Butterfinger candies to firm up. So now I'm going to take some milk chocolate morsels and melt them in the microwave. So I'm using about half a bag, which is about 6 ounces of my milk chocolate chips. And then this next step is optional, but sometimes it's nice to add a little bit of vegetable oil or vegetable shortening into your chocolate chips when you're melting them. It just makes for a really smooth, easy to work with consistency. So today, since I'm using about 6 ounces, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of vegetable shortening. So I'm gonna melt this in the microwave in about 30-second increments and stir it in between until it is nice and smooth. So it took about 1 minute and 30 seconds for my milk chocolate to melt completely. And I also wanted to mention too that you could totally use dark chocolate or white chocolate or kind of a combination, whatever sounds good to you. So now I'm gonna dunk each of my little Butterfinger candies into the chocolate. So I'm picking it up by hand and dropping it in, and then I'm going to use a fork to toss it around a little bit. Okay, and then I'll pick it up with a fork and just tap the edge of the fork. I'm tapping the edge of the fork on the side of the bowl here, and that sort of helps the chocolate. It's called sheeting. So basically it just lays over the candy a little bit smoother. And then I'm going to transfer this back onto the tray with the parchment paper, and you can use a toothpick to do this or just a second fork. That's what I grabbed today. And there you go. All that's left to do is pop these back in the fridge just to set up. The chocolate is still a little bit soft, so we want it to solidify completely, and then we're gonna test them out. The chocolate has totally solidified, so now I'm gonna give one of my homemade Butterfingers a taste. See that orange color? Oh my gosh. First of all, these are so delicious. They taste just like a Butterfinger, but the texture, you're not even gonna believe it. It is exactly like a Butterfinger. Kind of like flaky and a little bit chewy, and it's just, they're so, so good. Thank you so much to Shaunna for inviting me to join this Hocus Pocus Halloween collaboration. Make sure you check my description box below for her channel and the playlist for all of the Halloween themed videos. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram at Anne's Family Recipe. Thank you so much for joining me today in my kitchen, and I'll see you again soon with another family recipe.